Okay, today is the 11th of August, and we are on this Salayatana Sangyutta, the 35th chapter of the Sangyutta Nikaya. Now we come to 35.70 70. Then the Venerable Upavana approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Venerable Sir, it is said, the directly visible Dhamma. In what way, Venerable Sir, is the Dhamma directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise?" Stop here for a moment. When we chant the praise of the Dhamma, we chant Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko. This is the one. Sanditiko is directly visible. Akaliko is not depending on time, immediate. Akaliko, Ehipasiko, inviting one to come and see. All these words. So he's asking the Buddha, what do you mean by that? And the Buddha said, "Here Upavana, having seen a form with the eye, among experiences the form, as well as lust for the form, he understands that lust for forms exists internally thus. There is in me lust for forms internally. Since that is so, Upavana, the Dhamma is directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise. Further, Upavana, having heard a sound with the ear, odor with the nose, a taste with the tongue, a touch with the body, having cognized thought with the mind, among experiences the sense object, as well as lust for the sense object. He understands that lust for the sense object exists internally thus. There is in me lust for the sense objects internally. Since that is so, Upavana, the Dhamma is directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise. But here Upavana, having seen a form with the eye, among experiences the form without experiencing lust for the form, he understands that lust for forms does not exist internally thus. There is in me no lust for forms internally. Since that is so, Upavana, the Dhamma is directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise. Similarly, with sounds, smells, taste, touch, and thoughts, he understands that lust for these sense objects do not exist internally. Since that is so, the Dhamma is directly visible, immediate, inviting one to come and see, applicable, to be personally experienced by the wise. So here the Buddha is saying that a lot of the Dhamma that is taught, if we contemplate, actually we can experience it here and now. For example, the simple thing like Kamma Vipaka. We should do some deed to help others, to benefit others. Immediately we get a happy feeling. And if we do something to harm others, sometimes just saying the wrong word, sometimes after that you feel your conscience pricking you. But then we must understand, when we are compassionate to others, we also have to be compassionate to ourselves, because we are not Arahant yet. So sometimes we say things a bit careless, so sometimes it hurts others. So the Buddha says always to examine our karma, whatever we do, whatever we say, whatever we think. What is past also we contemplate. What we are doing now we contemplate, and before we do something also we contemplate. That's how we keep our three karmas clear, clean. So the Buddha is saying this one, the first part is for the ordinary person. An ordinary person, when they experience contact at the six senses, that means seeing a form, a beautiful form, hearing beautiful music, smelling nice perfume, or tasting good food, or having pleasant touch, or pleasant thoughts and all that, then lust arises. But then one who has cultivated himself, after many years, he has cultivated himself, done a lot of meditation, the mind becomes stronger, and he has studied the Dhamma, and he has absorbed it. Then when the six senses impinge on him, then he doesn't react in the same way. The mind is much stronger, not easily shaken by all these external objects. Next sutta is 35.74. At Savatthi. Then a certain monk approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side, and said to him, Venerable Sir, in such and such a dwelling there is a certain newly ordained monk, not well known, who is sick, afflicted, gravely ill. It would be good, Venerable Sir, if the Blessed One would approach that monk out of compassion. Then when the Blessed One heard the words, newly ordained and sick, he understood that he was not a well-known monk. He went to him. That monk saw the Blessed One coming in the distance and stirred on his bed. The Blessed One said to him, Enough, monk, do not stir on your bed. There are these seats ready, I will sit down there. The Blessed One then sat down on the appointed seat and said to that monk, I hope you are bearing up, monk. I hope you are getting better. I hope that your painful feelings are subsiding and not increasing, and that their subsiding, not their increase, is to be discerned. And he said, Venerable Sir, I am not bearing up. I am not getting better. Strong, painful feelings are increasing in me, not subsiding, and their increase, not their subsiding, is to be discerned. And the Buddha said, I hope then, monk, that you are not troubled by remorse and regret. Indeed, Venerable Sir, I have quite a lot of remorse and regret. I hope, monk, that you have nothing for which to reproach yourself in regard to virtue. And he said, I have nothing, Venerable Sir, for which to reproach myself in regard to virtue. Then, monk, if you have nothing for which to reproach yourself in regard to virtue, why are you troubled by remorse and regret? I understand, Venerable Sir, that it is not for the sake of purification of virtue that the Dhamma has been taught by the Blessed One. He is saying, what I understand, that the purpose of the Dhamma is not to purify Sila only. And the Buddha said, if, monk, you understand that the Dhamma has not been taught by me for the sake of purification of virtue, then for what purpose do you understand the Dhamma to have been taught by me? Venerable Sir, I understand the Dhamma to have been taught by the Blessed One for the sake of the fading away of lust. Good monk, it is good that you understand the Dhamma to have been taught by me for the sake of the fading away of lust. For the Dhamma is taught by me for the sake of the fading away of lust. What do you think, monk? Is the eye permanent or impermanent? Impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, mind permanent or impermanent? And says, impermanent, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering or happiness? Suffering, Venerable Sir. Is what is impermanent suffering and subject to change, fit to be regarded thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. No, Venerable Sir. Seeing thus, the noble disciple becomes disenchanted with the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the body, and the mind. And becoming disenchanted, he becomes dispassionate, and he attains liberation. This is what the Blessed One said. Elated, that monk delighted in the Blessed One's statement. And while this discourse was being spoken, there arose in that monk the dust-free, stainless vision of the Dhamma. Whatever is subject to origination is all subject to cessation. In other words, he attained the Dhamma vision and attained stream entry. You see this sutta, why this monk said he was troubled by remorse and regret, and then when the Buddha asked him, why are you troubled by remorse and regret? He said, I understand that it is not for the sake of purification of virtue or sila that the Dhamma has been taught by the Blessed One. Maybe because there are some monks, they are not too fussy about precepts because they think precepts are important, but some monks get carried away too far. They are too particular about precepts. But maybe he's not too particular about precepts because he feels that the purpose of the Dhamma is not mainly for the purification of virtue. Purification of virtue is just a stepping stone. He understands that the purpose of the Dhamma is to cut off lust. And then, so why does he have remorse? Because sometimes if a monk like this is not too particular about precepts, although generally his precepts are okay, only minor points, he's not so fussy. But other monks who are very fussy, they can be very critical. So when they're very critical, they're always finding fault with him. So he feels very uneasy. So when he told the Buddha that the Dhamma is taught not for purification of the virtue, Buddha then asked him, if that's the case, so what do you understand the Dhamma is for? And he said it's for the cutting off of lust, and the Buddha agreed. Final purpose is to cut off lust and craving. That is the way to liberation. Only thing is, there's some other sutta where the Buddha talked about the various stages of progress. In the beginning, sila is one of the things at the bottom. As you go higher, there are other things that are more important. So some monks, they are too fussy about sila. They concentrate on sila and they don't progress. They just stay there. So this monk, the Buddha agreed with him. And so after listening to the Buddha, he attained vision of the Dhamma. 35.81. Then a number of monks approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Here, Venerable Sir, wanderers of other sects ask us, for what purpose, friends, is the holy life lived under the ascetic Gotama, Samana Gotama?" When we are asked thus, Venerable Sir, we answer those wanderers thus: "It is, friends, for the full understanding of suffering that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One." We hope, Venerable Sir, that when we answer thus, we state what has been said by the Blessed One and do not misrepresent him with what is contrary to fact, that we explain in accordance with the Dhamma, and that no reasonable consequence of our assertion gives ground for criticism. And the Buddha said, "For sure, monks, when you answer thus, you state what has been said by me and do not misrepresent me with what is contrary to fact. You explain in accordance with the Dhamma, and no reasonable consequence of your assertion gives grounds for criticism. For monks, it is for the full understanding of suffering that the holy life is lived under me. But monks, if wanderers of other sects ask you, what, friends, is that suffering for the full understanding of which the holy life is lived under the ascetic Gotama? Being asked thus, you should answer them thus: the I, friends, is suffering. It is for the full understanding of this that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One. Forms are suffering. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, that too is suffering. Similarly for the others, senses, the ear, the nose, the tongue, body and mind, and the sense objects, and then the feeling that arises from contact, all that is suffering. It is for the full understanding of this that the holy life is lived under the Blessed One. This, friends, is that suffering for the full understanding of which the holy life is lived under the Blessed One. Being asked thus, monks, you should answer those wanderers of other sects in such a way. It's the end of the sutta. So you see this sutta, because it is under the six sense basis, this chapter of Salayatana, six sense basis. So he talks about the source of suffering as the eye and forms and feeling that arises and the eye contact, etc. And similarly for the ear, nose and all that. But Probably the similar sutta is in the Kanda Sangyutta, the aggregate Sangyutta. The Buddha will describe the source of suffering as the 5 aggregates, the body, the feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness. So actually, the Dhamma, we learn the Dhamma to understand suffering. So when we understand suffering, how suffering arises, how suffering ceases, and the path going to the end of suffering, then only we can eliminate suffering. 35.82. Then a certain monk approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Venerable Sir, it is said, the world, the world. In what way, Venerable Sir, is it said, the world?" And the Buddha said, "It is disintegrating, monk. Therefore, it is called the world." Stop here for a moment. The world here in Pali is loka. Loka. And it comes from the word lojati, I think. Lojati. Lojati means disintegrating, changing. And what is disintegrating? The I, monk, is disintegrating. Forms are disintegrating. I consciousness is disintegrating. I contact is disintegrating. Whatever feeling arises with eye contact as condition, that too is disintegrating. Similarly, for the ear, the nose, tongue, body and mind, these 6 sense bases, and then the consciousness that arise, the object of the 6 sense bases also, and the contact, feeling, all that is impermanent, so disintegrating. Therefore, the world is so called. So here the Buddha says, the world is disintegrating. So now he refers to the 6 sense bases, meaning to say that the world is in the 6 sense bases. So because the world is in the 6 sense bases, and the 6 sense bases are impermanent and changing, and so therefore the world is impermanent and changing. 35.85. Then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One and said to him, "Venerable Sir, it is said, empty is the world, empty is the world. In what way, Venerable Sir, is it said, empty is the world?" This word empty, is a translation in Chinese is what? Kong. Comes from the word sunyata. Sunya. It is because, Ananda, it is empty of self and what belongs to self that it is said, empty is the world. And what is empty of self and of what belongs to self? The I, Ananda, is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Forms are empty of self and of what belongs to self. I, consciousness, is empty of self and of what belongs to self. I, contact, is empty of self and of what belongs to self. Whatever feeling arises also is empty of self. Similarly for all the other sense bases. So it is Ananda because it is empty of self and of what belongs to self that it is said empty is the world. So here the word empty or emptiness, sunyata, does not mean that there's nothing in the world. Sometimes Chinese books, they always talk about kong, as though there's nothing. It's not the meaning. Meaning is that it is anatta, no self. And no self means there is no one thing that is unchanging, that is permanent, that remains the same. So because everything is changing all the time, you cannot identify any one thing as having a self, having a core, an unchanging core. So that's the meaning of emptiness, kong, sunyata. Next sutta is 35.87. This same sutta is found in the Majjhima Nikaya, sutta number 144. There it is called the Chano Vada Sutta, advice to Chana the monk. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. On that occasion, the Venerable Sariputta, Venerable Mahachunda, and the Venerable Chana were dwelling on Mount Vulture Peak. And the Venerable Chana was sick, afflicted, gravely ill. Then in the evening, the Venerable Sariputta emerged from seclusion, approached the Venerable Mahachunda and said to him, Come, friend Chunda, let us approach the Venerable Chana and ask about his illness. Yes, friend, Venerable Mahachunda replied. Then the Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Mahachunda approached the Venerable Chana and exchanged greetings with him, after which they sat down in the appointed seats. The Venerable Sariputta then said to the Venerable Chana, I hope you are bearing up, friend Chana. I hope you are getting better. I hope that your painful feelings are subsiding and not increasing, and that their subsiding, not their increase, is to be discerned. Friend Sariputta, I am not bearing up. I am not getting better. Strong, painful feelings are increasing in me, not subsiding, and their increase, not their subsiding, is to be discerned. Just as if a strong man were to split my head open with a sharp sword, so too violent winds cut through my head. I am not bearing up. Just as if a strong man were to tighten a tough leather strap around my head as a headband, so too there are violent pains in my head. I am not bearing up. Just as if a skilled butcher or his apprentice were to carve up an ox's belly with a sharp butcher's knife, so too violent winds are carving up my belly. I am not bearing up. Just as if two strong men were to seize a weaker man by both arms and roast him over a pit of hot coals, so too there is a violent burning in my body. I am not bearing up. I am not getting better. Strong, painful feelings are increasing in me, not subsiding, and their increase, not their subsiding, is to be discerned. I will use the knife, friend Sariputta. I have no desire to live. Stop here for a moment. So this monk Chana, he's very sick, and his body is giving him so much pain. He says he's going to commit suicide. Use the knife. Don't want to live anymore. Let the Venerable Chana not use the knife. Let the Venerable Chana live. We want the Venerable Chana to live. If the Venerable Chana lacks suitable food, I will go in search of suitable food for him. If he lacks suitable medicine, I will go in search of suitable medicine for him. If he lacks proper attendant, I will attend on him. Let the Venerable Chana not use the knife. Let the Venerable Chana live. We want the Venerable Chana to live. Stop here for a moment. I see this Venerable Sariputta is very compassionate. So he says, if you lack anything, I will get it for you. Even if you need an attendant also, I will attend on you. Then he said, Friend Sariputta, it is not that I lack suitable food. I have suitable food. It is not that I lack suitable medicine. I have suitable medicine. It is not that I lack proper attendance. I have proper attendance. Moreover, friend, for a long time the teacher has been served by me in an agreeable way, not in a disagreeable way. For it is proper for a disciple to serve the teacher in an agreeable way, not in a disagreeable way. Remember this, friend Sariputta. The monk Chana will use the knife blamelessly. Stop here for a moment. So he says he has everything, and also for a long time he has served the Buddha in a good way. And he says, you should know, when I use the knife, it will be blameless. In other words, he's saying that he has attained arahanthood. Because the Buddha says, if a person commits suicide and then he does not take rebirth after that, that is blameless. If he commits suicide and after that he's reborn again, that is blameworthy. And then the Venerable Sariputta, when he heard the Venerable Chana says indirectly that he's already an arahant, the Venerable Sariputta decided to test him. We would ask the Venerable Chana about a certain point, if he would grant us the favor of answering our question. Ask, friend Sariputta, when I have heard, I shall know. Friend Chana, do you regard the I consciousness, and things cognizable with I consciousness thus? This is mine, this I am, this is myself. Do you regard the ear consciousness, and things cognizable with ear consciousness thus? This is mine, this I am, this myself. Similarly, for the other 6 sense bases. And he said, Friend Sariputta, I regard the I consciousness, and things cognizable with I consciousness thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Similarly, I regard the ear consciousness, and things cognizable with ear consciousness thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. And similarly for the other 6 sense bases. Friend Chana, what have you seen and directly known in the in I consciousness, and in things cognizable with I consciousness, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. What have you seen and directly known in the ear, in the nose, in the tongue, body and mind, that you regard them thus? This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Friend Sariputta, it is because I have seen and directly known cessation in the in I consciousness, and in things cognizable with I consciousness, that I regard them thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. It is because I have seen and directly known cessation in the ear, in the nose, in the tongue, in the body, in the mind, and in the consciousness, and in things cognizable, that I regard them thus. This is not mine, this I am not, this is not myself. Stop here for a moment. So here he says he has seen these 6 sense bases ceasing. So if he has seen them ceasing, he must have attained a very high state of meditation. And this was said, the Venerable Mahachunda said to the Venerable Chana, therefore, friend Chana, this teaching of the Blessed One is to be constantly given close attention. For one who is dependent, there is wavering. For one who is independent, there is no wavering. When there is no wavering, there is tranquility. When there is tranquility, there is no inclination. When there is no inclination, there is no coming and going. When there is no coming and going, there is no passing away and being reborn. When there is no passing away and being reborn, there is neither here nor beyond nor in between the two. This itself is the end of suffering. Stop here for a moment. So, Venerable Mahachunda gave this advice to the Venerable Chana that we should remember the Buddha's teaching. One who is dependent, that means one who is attached, then there's wavering. The mind can still shake, not yet steady. But one who is independent, not attached, there is no wavering. And because there is no wavering, there is tranquility. And so, if there is all this, then there is no coming and going, no dying and being reborn. There is no passing away and being reborn. So, when there is no passing away and being reborn, there is neither here nor beyond, nor in between the two. This here or beyond is like this life and another life, and in between the two refers to the intermediate state of existence, which the commentaries and the Abhidhamma denies. But in the Sutta, Buddha did talk about this state that if a being is going to be reborn into the womb, then there is an intermediate state that he has to wait. He has to wait for some time, a suitable time. When the parents come together, the mother is in the right season, then he can enter the womb. So, but then this, the Abhidhamma and the commentaries, it does not click with the Abhidhamma teaching, so they don't recognize this. Then when the Venerable Sariputta and the Venerable Mahachunda had given the Venerable Chana this exhortation, they rose from their seats and departed. Then soon after they had left, the Venerable Chana used the knife. Then the Venerable Sariputta approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side and said, Venerable Sir, the Venerable Chana has used the knife. What is his destination? What is his future born? And the Buddha said, Sariputta, didn't the monk Chana declare his blamelessness right in your presence? So the Buddha said, didn't he tell you that his death is blameless? In other words, he's not reborn. And then the Venerable Sariputta said, Venerable Sir, there is a Vajjan village named Puba Vijana. There the Venerable Chana had family friends, intimate families, hospitable families. And the Buddha said, the Venerable Channa did indeed have these friendly families, Sariputta, intimate families, hospitable families. But I do not say that to this extent one is blameworthy. Sariputta, when one lays down this body and takes up another body, then I say one is blameworthy. This did not happen in the case of the monk Channa. The monk Channa used the knife blamelessly. Thus, Sariputta, should you remember it? It's the end of the sutta. So here, the Venerable Sariputta thought maybe because this Venerable Channa, he had very close disciples, intimate families who were very strong supporters. Venerable Sariputta thought maybe he's attached to them, so he still come back for rebirth. But the Buddha says, even if he has all these strong supporters, that is not blameworthy. A monk is only blameworthy when after death he goes for rebirth again. So the Buddha says that the monk is blameless. He has entered Nibbana. So you see, during the Buddha's time, there were monks like this who, when they were sick, they didn't have painkillers and they didn't have proper medical facilities to ease their pain. So when they were very in great pain, physical pain, they have no desire to live anymore.